I guess most people don't ask themselves, what if your jewelry could hear for you? And I'm not talking about earbuds, I'm talking about ear couture. So let's get into this. Today, we're talking about something very specific, ear couture. And today, Bear from T10 Bespoke is here with pieces that look and feel like art, like power, and quietly bend the soundscape to your will. Like, this is just like so
You
cool.
are so hired, Val.
I know. I mean, it's like, and I'm thinking about my first experience with T10 Bespoke when I came over to your office and you had me try them in, and I was like,
No, there's a
"What?"
fancy word they use. They call it an atelier.
Yeah.
I
And
can't even say that without looking ridiculous, but I think that's what they call it.
well, and this is what I love about you. It's you are the true representation of your art, of your work. I think of you as audio romantic and then also kind of mad scientist, but you are a designer and you are so passionate about bespoke hearables, which is its own luxury category. They're hand finished, they're limited, and they're made to be a secret, which also makes them kind of difficult to sell when they're so exclusive and so special that you really have to pay attention
Well,
to
we
see
got we
and
got
feel them.
lucky on the secret part. You know, good secrets never stay never stay
They're not
secret.
stay a secret, right?
No, they don't. And so it's cool because these days, because word is, slipping out that there's this weird little company that makes hand built, your computers or your
Yeah.
phones or ear couture,
Ear
as you
couture.
as you have coined. I like that phrase. I'm going to use that.
Use it.
Because word is slipping out now. That my fancy little iPhone rings, and we launch into a conversation with some random person who I've never talked to before, and we start talking about what they might like to do and build their fancy ear thing, and then at some point in time we try to remember to get each other's names, because it seems like that would be
Important.
somewhat important to consummating a transaction. And then later on, I look up who I was on the phone with. I Google them, and I'm like, oh,
Oh, right. That person.
right, that's why
Right.
that name sounded familiar.
Make something from. Well, this, I want to start quickly. I don't want to go all into all the nitty gritty, but
Yeah.
this, you've been working on this for a really long time.
A
And
decade.
yeah, I
A
mean,
decade.
when I said you're passionate and embody all of the spirit of this product, literally all of your energy is in this creation. But it's not just beautiful, it's the audio quality,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
that's hard for people to get. They're like, what, why wouldn't I just go get, my $40, $50, $100 headphones? Like we're
Why
talking
wouldn't
about,
you yeah. Why wouldn't
yeah,
you go get you some of those white AirPod thingies,
yeah,
right?
those things that I use on the
Those are
airplane.
those are cool. All kids
Yeah.
got them.
All right.
Well, the kids
Right.
do have them, and the kids have
Yes.
them because they're affordable and
Yeah.
they're reasonably performative, right?
Yeah.
And so in the consumer electronics world, as is the case with, I don't know, wine or cigars or fashion, it's a curve that kind of goes like this on price, and then it kind of goes like this,
Yeah.
right? And so that last 10% or 15% starts to get expensive to execute.
Yeah.
And at the same time, if you've ever had really good wine, then going backwards sucks. And if you've had a great pair of shoes, going backwards, not so great. Fine furniture, a marvelous automobile, if you're so fortunate, a yacht or an airplane. And in all instances, when human beings really go for it in the things that they design or they create or that they covet, there's sort of the sky's the limit. And at the same time, electronics are hard, and they're expensive to execute. And so it's normally the big companies, the Sonys and the Bose and the Apples and, the
Yeah.
Googles of the world that are out there designing and building consumer electronics products, just because it is so expensive and so difficult, and the tooling is so, formidable, that most smaller companies that would try to get into building, an electronics product, whether it's a computer or a television or hi-fi audio, they
Yeah.
find out what it costs developmentally, and they can't, and so
Right.
it's not that the world doesn't know how to make better stuff. It's that reasonably the big companies aren't going to do it because you're talking about a very, very small sliver of the market that wants super high-end anything. And yet the little companies that might want to cater to something high-end in audio or consumer electronics, they just don't have the capital to do it. So we were real fortunate. I was able to lean on first friends and family and former business associates and former customers and people that I'd spent 30 years in electronics working with, and sort of outline my vision for a new way to interface with your ears by building computers that would fit inside your ears and would do cool stuff. And some of those people were just almost as crazy as me and voted to come along for the ride and became investors in our company. And so it began 10 years ago. But quickly, and I promise I'll let you talk, the funny part was in 30 years of consumer electronics development, I believed that I could do it in 3 years. And I told my original investors that in 3 years, here's how the world is going to look. This is what we're going to do. And they said, okay, Bear, yeah, if you say it, it must be. And so we'll do it. And then 10 years into it, I actually, that's not true. It was 8 years into it when I launched. It's 10 years now, but 8 years into what was supposed to be a 3-year R&D journey, we actually brought the world's first in-ear computers to market. It was a labor of love for the love of sound.